Hello everyone, in this episode of third person series I'm going to show you how to sheath, equip and swap weapons in Unreal Engine 5. And as you can see, this is final result of this tutorial. Alright, first I'm going to add some inputs to my project. So from edit tab I open project settings, and from input section I add 4 new action mappings. I name first one primary slot, and for key binding I select number 1 button, number 1 key, and second one I name it secondary slot, and for key binding I select number 2, and third one I name it handgun slot, and for key binding I select number 3, and fourth one I name it sheath, and I select H button for key binding. Okay, now I close project settings, and now I'm going to make some changes inside my weapon system component. So now I open weapon system component, and here I open input based on weapon function, and here on the switch on weapon input, last execution pin is sheath. I drag a node and I search for is valid node macro, and here I connect my in-hand weapon variable, connect it here, and I select this return node, and with Ctrl C and Ctrl V I make a copy and connect it to is valid, and I also connect my in-hand weapon to this return node. And now I compile, and now I open weapon type anim function, and also here I have this switch on weapon input enum that has one sheath execution pin. I just simply drag a node from here and add an is valid node with question mark, this macro, and again I connect my in-hand weapon variable, connected here, and here I have these two nodes, this return node and this node. I select them both, and with Ctrl C and V I create a duplicate, connect is valid to here, and here I set it to sheath, this weapon input setter actually, and I also set this can animate return value to true. And also here I have this branch node. After this get a slot based on weapon function, I have this branch node that and actually checks this weapon input is equal to this output weapon slot of this function, and also sets this value of this weapon input to here, but I'm going to use this e underscore weapon input instead. So I right click and search for e sorry get weapon, which is this input as I told you, and I connect it to here and here, and I can remove this weapon input. Okay, now I compile and close weapon system component. Alright, now I'm going to prepare my animation asset for my swap weapon functionality. So here I have this anim starter pack that I have imported from Fab, and here I have this animation asset equip rifle standing, which is which belongs to Unreal Engine 4 mannequin, but now I'm going to retarget it to UE5 mannequin. But if you are working with Unreal Engine 4, you don't need to do this process. But if you are using Unreal Engine 5, you can retarget it to UE5 mannequin. So here I right click on this animation asset, and this option retarget animation, I click on it, and here I have source skeletal, which is this one, and for target skeletal mesh I select SKM Queen, and for retarget asset I click on this drop down and select RTG UE4 mani, UE5 mani, this one. And here from these animation assets, I search for equip rifle standing. Alright, now I can see in this preview that this animation is retargeted to UE5 Queen mannequin, and now I click on export animation, and here I choose my weapon folder and click on export. Alright, as you can see, now I have this animation asset here, usable for UE5 Queen mannequin, and now I'm going to create a anim montage. So I right click, and here from create I click on create anim montage, and now I'm going to create an anim notify. Okay, exactly on this frame 27, when exactly this character is equipping weapon, here I right click, add notify, and I click on new notify, and I name it n underscore equip. Alright, and I place it right here. Okay, now I save and close this anim montage. Now I'm going to create a function inside my third person character blueprint. So here I open my third person character blueprint, and here I create a new function and I name it equip weapon. Alright, as input I create a new input and I name it weapon, and for input type I search for weapon input enum. Now I drag and drop my weapon system component here, and here I drag a node and search for weapon type anim function. Okay, I connect eWeapon input to here, and here I drag a node and add a branch node here and connect can animate output to the condition of this branch node, and Now I drag a node and search for play montage, play anim montage. Okay, and for anim montage I search for my equip rifle standing montage. Okay, now I compile and go back to event graph, and inside event graph I add all of inputs that I created in the beginning of this episode one by one. For example, primary slot, first one, secondary slot, this one, and after that I have handgun slot, and finally sheath. Okay, now here I right click and search for equip weapon function, connect it here, and for primary slot I set input to primary weapon. I create a duplicate here, and for this one, for secondary slot, I set it on secondary weapon, again a duplicate here, and this one handgun, and finally for sheath I set it on sheath. Okay, now I compile and close my third person character. Okay, now I open my characters animation blueprint from here, character folder, mannequin, animations. My character uses this ABP Queen animation blueprint, but this blueprint is derived from this ABP Mani. So I open up ABP Mani animation blueprint, and inside event graph I have this event blueprint update animation, and here I have this sequence node. I add a pin here, and now I drag a node and I cast to my character blueprint, cast to third person BP third person character. And for object wildcard I select get player character, and also I promote this output to a variable, and I name it third person BP ref. Alright, and from this character reference I drag a node and get weapon system component. Get weapon system component, and inside this component I get equip event. I search for equip event. Alright, and here I right click and search for anim notify that I created, n underscore equip. Alright, and I connect it to this equip event. Now I compile and run the game. As you can see here, I can pick up this weapon, this AK weapon, and if I press H it will be sheath and it will go to holster 1, and I also can pick up this Mag 10, and if I press H it will be placed inside handgun holster. And if you can use different animation for drawing handgun and rifle, and I can pick up this one, and by pressing H my character will place it inside in holster 2, And now if I press 3, my handgun is equipped, and I press H, and again if I press 1, my character equip holster 1 weapon, and if I press H it will be back in the place, and with press 2 again it will equip holster 2 weapon. But still there is one problem, and when character plays this animation it is not working correct, and now I'm going to fix it. Alright, now I open ABP animation blueprint, and here first I disconnect these nodes from here, and I'm going to save all of them to a cache. So I drag a node and search for new save cache pose, and I name it default anim. Alright, now here I right click and search for layered blend per bone, this node, and now I get my default anim, use cache pose default anim, connected to base pose, and again I create a duplicate of this one and place it here. Now I drag a node and search for default slot and connect it here, and now I should disconnect this default slot from here. So I press Alt and click, so I disconnect it and connect this main state to here, and also I connect this one to here, and now I select this layered blend per bone node, and here I have layer setup. Here I add another array element here, and in bone name I should insert name of a bone, which actually splits my character into, for example, upper and lower body. So I select this spine underscore 01 bone here, and I copy the name. If I insert name of this bone here, this animation will affect only bones which are above this bone, actually the upper body. Okay, now this one is copied here. Okay, now I compile and save. Now I run the game. Okay, now I run the game, and as you can see, if I pick up this weapon and press H, and this one, for example, animation works perfectly. And you can also add some functions for dropping weapon. For example, here I open my character blueprint. Here I add an input, for example F key, this one, and here I get my weapon system component, and I get my in-hand weapon. Now I say add an isValid node, connect it here, and here I get my drop weapon function. Okay, now if I pick up a weapon and if I press F, sorry, I should connect in-hand weapon to this input, weapon to drop. Now I compile and run the game. Okay, and now if I press F, I can drop weapon. Alright, if this tutorial was useful for you, please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.